Hi, and welcome to another episode of Hot Takes with me, the Silver Fox. Now, we all sort of started working from home during the pandemic, or mostly, I suppose, started working from home in the pandemic. I did, but the pandemic's been over for a long time now, and most people are going back to the office. And that's how it should be. But for one group of civil servants, they're not. They're not returning. Now, personally, if I was in charge, I'd say if you don't come in the office, I'll just assume you no longer want your job. That, of course, would bring in a lot of them home, but I suppose the civil service has different rules and you can't really do that. However, some of the excuses they're using are pathetic. And we're going to look at one now. One of the main reasons that they're using, and it's very snowflakey. They even use that in the description of the headline, because there's something about the office they don't like anymore. It's very hard for them. Life's hard. Life's so hard. And they can't come to the office because. And we're going to look at what the because is. And honestly, what is wrong with these people? Anyway, here goes. So, and you just couldn't make this, you couldn't make this up. Snowflakes got civil servants refused to return to the office due to overwhelming noise of loud colleagues. Honestly, you couldn't. One Scottish government bureaucrat claimed that their colleagues had become louder due to the COVID pandemic, making them more used to the sound of their own voices. But a hospitality industry representative urged for a fuller return to office working. Can't come to the office, too loud, people talking. Don't like talking people. I want to work in silence. Bless them. Bless them. What are you... It's just a joke now, isn't it? Absolutely. Anyway, Snowflake Scott civil servants have refused to return to the office because they are becoming overwhelmed. Oh, bless them, overwhelmed due to their loud colleagues. Concerns have been raised about the amount of taxpayer-funded Scottish Government bureaucrats are working from home, leaving offices empty across the country. Close the offices. Don't pay for the offices. Close them. Bang. Done. But now it has been claimed that some are being deterred from face-to-face working because their fellow employees have become noisier due to the COVID pandemic. You've got used to working in your little office like mine, say perhaps, and you're sitting there working away. It's all quiet. The only sound is your dog at your feet, the tea brewing next to you, that sort of thing. You don't have people going in the background, And when you go back to the office, you're glad of it. You're glad of the company. I got ever so lonely doing my job, and you're away and you're locked in. But getting back to the office was fantastic. Meeting people, talking to people. Did you see the match last night? Did you hear about so-and-so? Hey, you never guess what bet's done, and things like that. You can have these conversations. You can't do that on your own. Well, you can, but your dog doesn't care. Anyway, it's now been claimed that some are being deterred from face-to-face working because their fellow employees have become noisier due to COVID pandemic. Some have become so used to the sound of their own voices during lockdown that they now speak at high volume. Valath Kavitha Krishnan, who is the team leader in the Scottish Government's Justice Department, insisted that this noise could be overwhelming for some workers. Speaking to the Public Affairs in Practice podcast about some of her colleagues, she said they feel really productive working from home because it's a very noisy environment at the office at the moment. Working during the lockdown has changed some of people's social skills. They don't realise how loud they may be when they're talking. Some find it maybe too loud or too overwhelming, and they find it more productive working from home. Now, I will say that there were an awful lot of jobs that, bosses would say, oh, you can't do that from home, that all of a sudden were entirely capable of being done from home. And it did change the way we work. And I'm not saying that it's a bad thing, and I'm not saying that all jobs can be done from home, and I'm not saying that no jobs can be done from home. But I think we're moving into an era now where that admixture of home and office is a viable thing. I do believe you can do it. But certainly you need to be in the office certain times, and there's got to be kind of a minimum office time, because it's that kind of interaction with people is much more important nowadays. Sometimes it's just a casual wandering past an office and popping in and seeing someone that sparks something. And it's there. And I do think also good for your mental health. Working alone, you become very isolated. You become very singular, and I think it's very bad. Certain personalities find it very difficult, of course, and they need that office life. I did. I like to get back to the office and meet people and do things. And now, I mean, I do this now. It's what I do. So how do I meet people? I make a point of going out every day, going to a shop, going, walk the dog up with other dog walkers and things like that. That's how I deal with it. But to say that it's too loud, God help us. Anyway, changes to Scottish Government's guidance were introduced in August 2021 to allow staff to work remotely from locations outside the UK for a short period of time for personal reasons. The change was made mainly because of the coronavirus pandemic, but the figures show many staff are still taking advantage of this more than after 18 months after the final restrictions were lifted. And some are still working abroad. I mean, they're not even in the country and they're still getting paid, but they're working from some tropical island. Oh God, wouldn't you just dream of it? But the commute. You must come into the office on a Thursday. That'll put an end to it. You've got to get them in 2 days a week. You've got to get to the office 2 days a week. If you're not able to come into the office 2 days a week, find another job. It was reported that as few as 1 in 5 civil servants were actually working in government offices, and it's prompted the SNP executive to consider cutting its estate by 40%, with the likes of Sylvan House in Edinburgh and Atlantic Quay in Glasgow on the chopping board. And of course, if you're not getting the people in, get rid of the offices, pay them off. Oh look, there's Leslie. Pay them off and get rid of the offices, save that money, save the heating bill, save the maintenance bill, and amalgamate. If you've got like one office 1/3 full, another office 1/3 full, another office 1/3 full, amalgamate them all, have one office totally full doing the 3 different things they were doing. Jobs are good, and you've just closed down and saved money on 2 offices, the heating bill, let's say the maintenance, whatever, gone. You've made profit from the sale, or at the very least you've made money by not renting them anymore, whichever way round it is. And that's what you need to do. If these people want to stay at home, fine, they stay at home, but they don't have an office to go back to, do they? It's hard decision time, isn't it? But it's an easy decision. If you're running a private business, that's exactly what you'd do. Just treat public money like it's a business, a limited company, and spend accordingly. Anyway, businesses in Scottish city centres have been calling for the return to full-time office working to help bolster sales, with some often becoming ghost towns during the week. Leon Thompson of the industry group UK Hospitality Scotland said, "It is vital the decision is taken for civil servants to come back to the office and provided a much-needed financial boost for local shops, cafes and bars." And a spokesman for the Scottish Government said, "We're committed to flexible hybrid working for our workforce, enabling staff to work from a range of settings." So the people in the local economy say, please come back to the offices, and the government saying, nah, we don't want to. No, we'll keep them where they are. They can work from wherever they are at public expense. Fine. You want that? Brilliant. Sell the bloody offices, amalgamate them, and get rid of them, and save a lot of money. Anyway, there we go. She'll finish there. It's just a weird one. Too loud in the office, honestly. Coming up. Now, I am completely understanding, and I do get it. I do get that people like working from home, especially, for example, if you've got children, you can save an absolute fortune on childcare if you're working from the office. If you're working from home rather than being in the office. But I do think it's important for a business to have people in. It's where you do interactions. It's where ideas can flow. And so I think, yeah, sure, hybrid working, absolutely brilliant. Fantastic job. But you have to have maybe 2 days a week where people must be in the office, core time or something like that. And it doesn't even have to be the same days if you want to cut down on office costs by hot desking. And that's fine, and you have 20% come in on a Monday, 20% come in on a Tuesday, 20% or whatever. Things like you can do that, but people are still churning through. And that's absolutely fine. I get it. I do understand. But the excuse is, it's too loud in an office for me to work. These people, they wouldn't have done well. They wouldn't have done well in the military, that's for sure. You've got some Sergeant Major with his face here shouting at you. "Excuse me, Sergeant Major, you're being very loud." Yeah, because that works. Anyway, I shall stop there. Thank you very much for watching. I'll move on to the next story. As I did this morning, it was like, yeah, we'll do that story, that story, that story. And then bing, 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 bing. And it's like, oh, God. So there's an absolute rake. I'm not going to get through them all. I just literally don't have time. But we will go through as many as I can get through and save some for tomorrow. There's always tomorrow. But absolutely loads of stories. So I must crack on. Stay safe, stay well. See you in the next video. And I will talk to you later. Bye.